If you're an artist and you're not social media savvy, you're not going to survive unless you are paying someone who is, or you are signed to a label that hires someone to do it for you. You need social media today to basically build a following, a brand, and get your name out there, get people listening to your music, buying your products, etc. So, obviously, while FM radio is dead and Spotify playlists have become kind of the new radio gatekeepers, many playlist makers charge for a placement, but it is critical, honestly, to get your content there. I haven't really paid for any of my own personal music, but I also haven't released a ton of music lately. But I do have a friend who has used playlists, and I'm going to talk about her here in a second. So honestly, a good rule of thumb is you should probably spend twice as much money on advertising as you did on your creation of your album or your single, if that's the kind of artist you are. You really need an advertising budget. I think a lot of people kind of sleep on that. They think, oh, I'll just share it on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, I'll get views. But if you spend $1,000 producing your music, you want somewhat of a return on investment, So you should honestly plan to have $2,000 to spend on advertisement to get it on, to get it out there, to kind of build that momentum to really get people over to your content, especially if it's really good. So, have an advertising budget if you're an artist. Even though the democratization of social media has really made it that anyone can find you, you still need to do the legwork to be found. So basically, my story is I have a friend of mine who we did some work together in the past, got a few listeners here and there, didn't blow up anything crazy, under 1,000 plays, whatever. Now, she recently moved out to LA and worked with a producer out there. Spent a lot of time working on a track, got it out there as a single, and then said, all right, I am going to advertise this single. She was still doing shows. She was doing, she's, 14 or 15,000 followers on Instagram. So she's got a pretty big fan base. But even with that big fan base, she wasn't getting a lot of Spotify plays. Because, even with Instagram fans, there's a lot of bots. There's a lot of people who are just kind of these like fake friends, they're not like loyal followers. So I think she spent like $100 to get it placed on like the top of like a medium-sized playlist, and just shared it every single day on her social media. So between sharing it on her social media, encouraging friends to share it on her social medias, and then getting it number one on this playlist, she was able to basically turn the under 1,000 listens on this new single to, at this point, I think it's been going strong for a few months, but at least it was like 2 or 3 months in, she was at 40,000 streams. Now, she probably will not make the same return on investment as she has spent on advertising, but building, getting those listens, getting people who now become monthly listeners, those people are going to check out her Spotify page if they really like her. They're going to then check out her Instagram and her Facebook, and it's going to grow that. And it kind of really just, everything is interconnected and builds this momentum, and it just grows bigger and bigger and bigger, so that when she releases that next single, she's already got that huge list of monthly listeners. She could spend like the same amount of money on placement in these playlists and ultimately even get more streams and maybe make back the revenue that she lost on the last playlist placement. Get more people to her shows. That's money in her pocket if she's selling tickets. Getting people to her Instagram, getting people to her Facebook, stuff like that. Gives her an opportunity to show brands that she's someone they should invest in. It all interconnects and is all really important to have an understanding of and have a coherent strategy, because that's how you grow as a artist in a time where you don't need necessarily the same connections and money. You need the savviness of these platforms and a coherent strategy.